Conservative commentator Candace Owens is back in the news again for comments she made about the death of Charlie Kirk. Owens has repeatedly put forth theories that Kirk's alleged shooter, Tyler Robinson, did not act alone, and has accused Turning Point USA of being involved in at least a cover-up.
On her podcast earlier this week, she claimed that Charlie Kirk told her that he believed he would die at a young age and even thought he was a time traveler. And she thinks there may have been truth to some of what Kirk said. Take a look.
It is an absolute fact that Charlie Kirk thought that he was a time traveler. He told me he was a time traveler repeatedly. How was he so certain that he was going to die young? How is that possible? How was he even able to describe it as this tragic event? How did he know? How was he certain, by the way, as he said in those messages, that from the moment he signed onto the dotted line to begin Turning Point USA, he knew he was going to die. He knew his death was going to be related to Turning Point USA. That's not a coincidence.
Now, Owens was blasted on social media for her comments, with many people finding her claims too outlandish to take seriously. Political commentator Tim Pool writes on X, quote, "Candace is desperately trying to one-up each show to keep her viewers attached. CNN did this with Trump derangement. Eventually, you collapse into absurdity."
And musician and Timcast co-host Phil Labonte says if you ever thought her statements were compelling or that she was making good arguments, now is a good time to find and delete any tweets that communicate that idea. Oh, Phil.
Listen, nobody on this show, and I say nobody because there's usually three of us in rotation, me and Robbie, nobody on this show is particularly fond of Candace Owens. So I try to be the contrarian to at least try to point out something that she may be having, but I'm truly not a fan of Candace Owens. But you guys got to know when somebody's going off the deep end. And I mean, part of me has a little bit of empathy because of the way that she has called him her really good friend. It seems like she's not grappling well with loss. I've dealt with loss of a friend in recent years, and I've had a circle of people that really loved her, and I've heard every single theory about how she knew that, what was going to happen or being gone too soon. I mean, and she might have told those people that this thing might have happened, or, they might have inkling, like, I feel like I'm going to live a shorter life than most people. Like, who knows what the dialogue was? But part of that is also grief.
Yeah.
Part of that is just trying to understand and comprehend something that's not comprehensible sometimes. Sometimes somebody passing away at a young age really does not register. And because I've experienced it, I think that, like, I could just say you have to just pause and back up, because also you're offending and affecting a bunch of people that are probably more hurt than you. I would say his children, his wife now, his widow, so if you have to consider that you're not the most grieving person in the situation. So going on the tirade in the same way that she did, like Brigitte Macron, which, for some people was entertaining. This is like just a step too far. You guys already had the conversation. Like, talk to his widow about what you think and, like, leave it there. Some people need to be excused from this group chat.
One of the things that I learned similar to you when I was grieving a tough loss was how many people try to make it about themselves.
Oh, explain.
Right? Well, it's just, people, it seems like, who were not as close to the person who passed or weren't as close in recent years, it's about their grief and how hard it is for them. And it kind of tries to, like, divert attention from the family, and it just gets very messy. But I'll just leave it. I'll leave it.
I get
as
that.
vague
Yeah.
as that. But watching some of her show over the past few weeks and seeing even people like Alex Jones and Nick Fuentes come out and say that they think that she's kind of gone off the deep end has been very telling. And these recent comments, I mean, people around Charlie have said before that he knew that it was a possibility that he could go quickly or die young, because he was aware of the potential threat of violence for his political organizing. And he was very aware of the security issues with doing these outdoor events, but wanted to continue doing them because he felt it was so important, even though he was cognizant of the risk of being exposed constantly and having such a big platform. And so this is not new information that she's presenting, that he felt that way. And it's like, okay, well, he said he was a time traveler. What did he mean by that? Did he mean that he felt like he was, like, from a different time in terms of being an old soul?
Soul. I get that, yeah.
The Catholic in me also wants to think that, sometimes people get a feeling that comes from God, that their life is supposed to be a certain way, or they have some kind of purpose, or that they might die young. And that possibility was not really explored by Candace in this rant about the, jumping the space-time continuum. And, sometimes I think we look for complicated explanations to things that should be a little bit more simple, just because our minds can't really understand. Like you said, it's incomprehensible what happened. And so we sort of desperately seek for answers to something that's maybe not as neat.
Right. Well, that does it for us on Rising Live. Look out for more exclusive YouTube content coming your way today. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to All the Hills YouTube channel so you never miss any content. And for those of you who like to listen on the go, we're available to listen to wherever you listen to podcasts. Have a great weekend. Happy MLK.